Alright, this will be my first ever proper deck profile. Today, I'm going to be going over Dogmatakashi. It's a cheeky little deck I decided to throw together with some help from the Golden Nova Yu-Gi-Oh! Discord. Shoutouts to them. And this is just kind of what I worked out. I figured it would be a cheeky little fun idea. First and foremost, we have the obvious Mayakashi part of it. 3 Daki, you could probably cut it down to 2 if you wanted to. She's just kind of your important playmaker. But she can revive herself from the graveyard, so it's not that big a deal, especially if you're gonna also be going into the extra deck. We have Hajun, who's really just here to search out Daki. We have Yuki Musume, who is a good way to just immediately start your synchro climb. And Unizombie, good way to get stuff like Daki or Mizuki into the graveyard. Mizuki, obvious, it's a zombie deck. Shafu, you could cut him. He's not terribly important, but if you have like a Daki that's not live, you don't have a way to go into Yukiona, then he's not terrible. And then Shiranui Solitaire, just generally an amazing zombie card. And since stuff like Daki has 0 defense, Daki and Unizombie both have 0 defense, you can just bring them out easily. Then onto the Dogmatic engine. 3 Adine, 3 Ecclesia, both of them are just... Adine can just special summon a bunch of your monsters, whether you need a Fleur, Shashian, or just need access to your Ecclesia. Ecclesia is she's just good. She's just your Rhoda. She's your Stratos, frankly. Fleur-de-Lis, he negates monsters, especially from the extra deck mostly. Hashi, he's a one-of. He's not bad, but he doesn't do terribly much. And then the spell traps. I don't know if I mentioned Yukiona. Or Yuki Musume, my bad. Yukiona's the evolved form. Yuki Musume is good if you need to ditch a Mezuki or a Daki. Ideally, you'd want to do it when Daki's already on the field, so you can go right into your synchros. But then we have Mayakashi Return. Good if you need a Mayakashi in your hand, or you just need a Digidaki. Mayakashi Winter. You're going to be getting a lot of Mayakashi in the graveyard, so it's probably a good idea to use this to weaken your enemy's monsters by a good bit. I think it caps out at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, at 11,000 attack. And then we have Mayakashi Metamorphosis, graveyard setup, plus retrieval of any Mayakashi that is for some reason banished or in your graveyard. And then Mayakashi Mayhem, which is just it rewards you for doing what Mayakashis normally do. Then the other trap one here, Dogmatic Punishment. You're on 1, but it's a good way to get stuff like the Ash Dragon, or Natis into your graveyard. Plus, monster removal. Then Nadir, the Servant of Nadir, Disciple from Nadir, Nadir Servant, whatever you want to call it. It lets you ditch one of your monsters. Ideally, you'll usually go for Natis or Titanclad, but you can also go for one of the Mayakashis, just so that if need be, and you have, I don't know, Gasha Dokuro, you can send Yoko, a second Yoko, just for backup, in case they banish one of your other Yoko. And also it can add, typically you're going to want to add Ecclesia, that you can then special summon Ecclesia, and then have Fleur-de-Lis, summon Fleur-de-Lis, negate an attack, or negate an effect. Then obviously, you're in 2 each of the synchros except for Gashidokuro, because admittedly he probably has the worst revive effect, since it only affects himself, whereas Yoko, she's a free pop. Tengu is a free pop for spell traps. Yoko only does monsters. Tsuchigumo, good for setting up your graveyard and milling your opponent. Oboroguruma, he's just good for, making sure your monsters are... just make sure your monsters can't be destroyed by battle. But the most important thing is that they can be used to climb up the ladder, the synchro ladder, if you will, up to Gashidokuro, and then you use Daki with usually Gashidokuro if you can, to make Yukiona, and then revive Daki, and if you can, Mezuki when you're synchros, into Yukiona the Absolute Zero Mayakashi. It was just an upgrade to the regular one, but you only run her at 1, because you can only control 1, but her effect just, since you're going to be doing a lot of special summoning from the graveyard with zombies, she's a pretty solid move. Just to zero out your opponent's board. Yukiona, the Ice Mayakashi, is not quite as good. I mean, she's defended as long as you control a zombie, or a Mayakashi synchro, or just a synchro in general. But it's just a worse version of the Absolute Zero. Then Cypher Lord Omega, if he's sent to the graveyard, you can return him and he's just there for recycling, frankly. And then Natis, she's a free pop with Nadir Servant. And then Titanclad the Ash Dragon. Again, since, as you can see, we're not running a Fallen of Alaz, so it's more so just, you can send him to the graveyard and he'll special summon or add to your hand a Fleur-de-Lis, a Hashi, Ecclesia, whatever you need. And then I don't have a side deck because I don't usually make side decks, but you could side in something like, Zombie World. Shout out to YGO Mobile, by the way, that's what I'm using here. Zombie World, or if you need to, you could add in, what is her name? The Searcher for Zombie World, I don't remember what it is. Necroworld Banshee, that one. Or, if you need to, you can throw in Balderdrock or whatever his name is. Baylordrock? Yeah, Baylordrock. So throw in him, throw in Necroworld, throw in Zombie World, whatever. And then you could probably also add in hand traps. Speaking of which, this deck just kind of dies to Nibiru. It dies to Nibiru. It dies to hand traps. But it's not terrible. I have some replays on Twitter, or at Korea Aburame, aka Ujama Lime. And then another good tech in, if you need it, is Glow Up Bloom, so that you can use the Mayakashis, or not the Mayakashis, the Dogmatica to go into your Mayakashi synchros if for some reason you have them on the field and a Daki in the graveyard, but none of the synchros. And yeah, I also have replays on my channel, Two Bros Gaming. See those if you want to. And yeah, I'll probably follow this up with a replay. Otherwise, just throw in a lot of zombie stuff will probably work. Running more Dogmatica stuff will probably work. It's just a cheeky idea I had. And that about sums it up. I don't know how to end videos.